Raid Finder is here. Wing 4, if you're an LFR Andy or you just want to get in there, get some crests, maybe you're looking into getting that new tier set, because for me, the Death Knight, the all blacked out one, is the best looking one, and that's the freaking LFR one, which is ridiculous, but it is what it is. So the final wing of LFR is opened now officially since reset, so get in there and get it done, guys. There are reasons to do it. Also, don't forget the Legendary, as I was reminded in chat, could drop off of LFR as well, so it's a good one. There's reasons to do it, and the crests can also be upgraded through the upgrade system as well, so your crests are not useless. This is the first season that is the case, so get in there, get LFR done if you've got the time to do it. It's a good time, and stack those buffs. Incandescent Essence Helm Enchant is now available. So if you don't know, this is a Helm Enchant that you can get. And it's a great one, and it's class specific. It can either, not class specific, but role specific. So there is a tank, a healer, a ranged DPS, and a melee DPS enchant that can be got. How do you get it, you ask? Well, you get these echoed ephemera, I think that's what they're called, by killing bosses in the raid. You get a couple every time. You get one every time you kill the boss. It's going to take you some time to get up to 50. But once you do, you can purchase the Helm Enchant, and it is reusable, so don't worry, you're not going to have to get another one if you get a new helm. Also, if you upgrade your helm through the upgrade system, the enchant will also upgrade and stack. So these stats will go up as you upgrade your helm, so that's freaking great. It slaps, by the way. Yeah, the Helm Enchant's top tier. So everyone's going to want to get it. Again, you get these just for killing bosses, so make sure you do it. Yeah. Free 100k procs, nice. The third charge for the Revival Catalyst is now up. So this is going to be your third piece of tier set. If you have had horrible luck and not got any tier, at this point you've at least got the 2 set bonus and you're on your way to the 4 set. Yeah, go in and use your token, upgrade that tier gear. Probably go to your vault first just to see what you got before you decide what you're going to upgrade. But yeah, go upgrade, go use it. And don't forget, eventually, I believe... what was the timeline? Eventually, this catalyst is going to be charging every week. Right now, it's every other week, but it eventually will go on to an every week basis, so you'll have plenty of these to upgrade later on. So don't feel too pressured into making the perfect choice. You know, just make a choice, upgrade, and move on. Now this one was an interesting one, to say the least. So if you don't know, an encrypted 11.0 War Within build is now on the PTR. Yeah, so some people pointed out to me yesterday that a 10.2.6 also showed up on the PTR, but I wanted to say that that's most likely going to become 10.2.7. It's just 10.2.6 for now, and this is like the this is like the super alpha build. But this 11.0 one is very interesting, because it might give us a hint as to when the expansion is going to drop. And the reason why I say that is because we can look back at when the first encrypted build of every other expansion hit the PTR, and when did that show up as the expansion launch. So looking back, here are the rough timelines. Dragonflight, encrypted Dragonflight build, right, showing up for the data miners on April 22nd. Alpha started July 14th. And the release was November 28th. So that was 220 days from the first encrypted build. If we continue to look here, Shadowlands. The first encrypted Shadowlands build was February 19th. The alpha started on April 9th. And then October 26th was the original release date. Remember, that shit got delayed a couple times. And they said it was because of COVID and everything else going on. There happened to be a pandemic at that time. No excuse in my book, but hey.
Let us lay waste to this realm.
It is what it is. Mick, thank you for the sub on YouTube. But that was 250 days later after the first encrypted build. So you got 220, 250, whatever. Say average 230, 235-ish. Using these estimations, we could put that the War Within would release between July 19th and August 18th. Could we be getting a summer release of the War Within? Now, this is wild. That would be crazy fast. The final patch would be crazy fast as well if we're looking at it this way. And Chris Metzen did say they are moving with purpose. They want to get these things out quicker. Now, I assumed that they meant they want to get them quicker after the War Within, right? These next 3 expansions. But if they get this one out in the end of the summer, I would welcome it. I'd be very happy. I'm kind of, I'm enjoying Dragonflight, but I'm also ready to move on from Dragonflight. So I would gladly take this this release date. But they said previously, the War Within, the alpha was announced to be launched later this fall, around the fall. So based on these stats right here, based on these numbers, we're thinking alpha could start in April, but they did say it could be fall. So what could be happening is they just drop this encrypted build a lot earlier than usual so they can work on it for a lot longer. That could also be the case, and then we still end up getting like a November release, like was, really expected. But hey, we can always hope for a summer release. That'd be amazing. Fyrakk, the legendary axe. What is going on with this thing? So I talked a lot about this, and a lot of people had opinions on it. It wasn't very legendary when it first dropped. In fact, this axe was just giving like a 5 to 6% buff to your damage, which was, for a legendary, not that legendary, because there were other weapons that could give you a 4 to 5 that weren't considered legendaries in the game. But recently, Blizzard hotfixed it, adding crit and haste, allowing crit and haste to affect the weapon's abilities. And what are those abilities? We've talked about them before. There's the Mark of Fyrakk, which is like a dot that you put on your targets, and then you use the Rage of Fyrakk, which is that damn charge that keeps you sitting still until the freaking thing is done. So you can die by casting this thing for 3 seconds. But when it hits, it pops all the dots and does some damage. Anyways, haste and crit now apply, and we talked a little bit about that before, but what has it done for the damage? Well, the numbers are in, and these are your before and afters and the relative increase in damage. So essentially now this axe is doing, if you equip it, is going to do between, I think it was 5 to 6 before, so it's basically like 6 to 7% increase in damage now, which is, it's good. It's better. The impact will be much bigger on AoE, so if we're talking Mythic Plus, this thing's going to be even bigger in terms of how big of a buff the damage is going to be. So that's great. This thing is heading in the right direction. I expect it to kind of, maybe get one more buff. Maybe, because again, this is a legendary item. I saw some people commenting, "What do you mean 5 to 6%'s a lot, Sam?" Yeah, it's a lot for a regular item, not for a legendary. A legendary should change the game for you. So they did buff it. That's good. The weapon itself also has crit and haste, so that's great. If you're stacking that stuff, eventually when you get geared enough, these numbers should continue to go up. So all in all, it's in a better place than it was. Still not quite where I want it to be yet, but it is heading in the right direction, so that's good. A nice update for the legendary axe. And speaking of damage, the week 4 numbers are in, and evidently, we are in the age of the rogue. Yes, the rogue damage has gone rogue. It's completely popping off. If you're not bringing rogues to anything anymore, I guess you're losing out on damage. That's what it looks like. 5 to 6% is a lot for most classes, but for Blood DK, that's like 2k DPS. That's true. That's true. So rogues, all 3 specs. You don't see this often, but all 3 specs, you can literally spin a wheel and pick, and you will still be top DPS. All 3 rogue specs are currently at the top. Now, this is overall damage. Marksmanship Hunter sitting underneath, and then Havoc Demon Hunter, who happens to be part of the Mythic Plus meta right now, is also sitting pretty high. You got Elemental Shaman, another Hunter spec. Demo Warlock is the best Warlock spec by a mile, it looks like, and it's not even that high. This is the lowest I've seen Warlocks in quite a while. We got Enhancement Shaman. Shamans are in a great place. I'm happy for Shamans. Oftentimes they're overlooked, so this is great for them. Balanced Root for Fury Warrior, and then, oh my god, look at the Death Knights. Wow, we're just middle tier right now in terms of damage. It's kind of sad. My, how the mighty have fallen. You remember when Unholy Death Knight was just the king forever? That was a good time. Mages also really hurting in terms of damage. Not a single one of their specs is even in the middle. Wow. And then Augmentation Evoker sitting at the bottom. They're a buff class. They're still, whether their damage is good or not, they're still very good to bring into groups. But let's look at boss damage. Even in boss damage, 2 of the 3 rogue specs are 1 and 2. Rogues are just in a great place right now. It's a good time to play a rogue, I guess. Enhancement Shaman, sitting just beneath, like I said, Shaman's in a good spot. It looks like 2 good Druid specs, Balance and Feral. Havoc Demon Hunter, again, part of that meta. It's really good to be a Havoc Demon Hunter right now. Beast Mastery. Outlaw Rogue is the third, but it's still higher than more than half the other specs. Destro Warlock. My god, Warlocks are just... Warlocks and Mages. What's going on? I don't think I've ever seen Warlocks and Mages combined to be this low. Shadow Priest sitting there in the middle. Unholy Death Knights doing much better in terms of boss damage. I've seen Unholy Death Knights come into the raids and pop off, so that's good. Retribution Paladin. Again, these numbers probably don't reflect the legendary, so I would expect Ret Pally, Unholy Death Knight, like, to really pop off and start moving up. Same with Warriors. Warrior specs should be moving up too. Let's see who the big movers were. 9 spots up for Frost DK and Unholy DK. That's good. 5 down for Beast Mastery. Rogue hasn't moved much, but they don't have to. They're at the top. I mean, that's crazy. The biggest mover down was Shadow Priest. Oh, Shadow Priest must have gotten hit with something because they moved 7 spots down. Very interesting. Always fun to look at these numbers. And again, how do you overcome these numbers? Get good. That's how. Last but not least, we have the trading post items. Just a few things here. A cool little bear-looking tabard. Honestly, I like what they've been doing with the tabards. We got a little satchel of money. It looks like Arbor Bobby Kodak's finally getting some transmog that he could appreciate in the game, and then a nice little cloak here. And of course, the standard long sleeve sweater that you bought from Express years ago on that buy one sweater, get 15 sweaters free, but you washed it one time when you put it in the dryer, it shrank. But you still refuse to not wear it, so here you are wearing it once again. It looks beautiful.